Hello everybody, Fighting Crypto here once again, chilling out, hanging out. I want to talk about HBAR, good old Hedera. It's been getting a lot of FUD since I've pretty much heard of it, and it's good to see price action is finally freaking moving, because I got tired of everyone saying how it's a dead coin when it is not. It just had dead price action, which is incredibly different. But in terms of looking for what's going to happen and make us a lot of money during the bull run, obviously price action is what matters. Hedera has been frantic and incredibly busy with shaking hands, dotting lines, getting things lined up, but it hasn't turned into price action because price action in the immediate is based off of emotion. You guys, me, how excited do we get, either one way or another, buying or selling? That's what changes price action. It's good to know there's some big news coming out, actually a lot this week, for Hedera, good old HBAR, and I want to share that with you all. You've probably, if you're into HBAR, you've probably heard of some of this already, but not a reason to keep reinforcing it. Remember why we have conviction into the plays that we do. So, of course, before I get too involved into this, nothing here is financial advice. It will never be financial advice. Please, if you enjoy what you hear, think it's useful, please subscribe. It really does help out a small channel like myself. I'm very appreciative. Please also press the like button if you enjoy it. Ring the little ding thing so you get notified when I've got something else to talk about. And comment below with anything that you want to say. Say hi. I'll say hi back. So let's get right into it. For any of you who might not know what Hedera HBAR is, let's give a very quick on that. They run by what they call Hashgraph. Think of it as a blockchain. It is not. It's a little bit more advanced, a lot more scalable. It's a lot faster. It's cheaper. It's more eco-friendly. It's essentially better in every single way as a technology. Reason why I have to enforce that as a technology is when it comes to price action or profits, the fact that it is so cheap, it is so fast, it is great for large government agencies and corporations to hop in because it is fractions of a penny for several thousand transactions. It takes a lot for it to make money because of how cheap it is, which does translate in part to a slow price action. So we got a lot of great news coming in with it, aside from all the stuff that's already been good with it. Its government council has expanded a little bit. I'll touch upon that shortly. We have, Karate Combat is huge. That's always going. More CBDCs and digital dollars are being tested or announced that they might go on Hashgraph. And all this adds up just to be amazing things for us here for HBAR supporters. So I said there's a lot of big news. What is some of the news that came out? So first one is, this one's a rumor. I will emphasize it's a rumor, but people buy the rumor and sell the news. So this does matter. It takes effect. All right, the rumors going on involving future elections, voting processes, and ID verification. Something that President-elect Donald Trump has been very loud about previously, of making sure or not believing that the whole election systems are valid. And it's been hinted heavily by people in the know that Twitter, or X, Cardano, ADA, and Hedera will be running the future elections and ID verifications for voting. That, just as a thought, is huge, and it showed on the price movement. If that actually ends up being the case, which I see no reason for it not to, a lot of things line up suggesting this could very well be the case, it's going to be wonders long term for price and utility of Hedera. Reason why I say that this is very believable is this will actually kind of lead into the next point in a few, is Trump is very big on, with cryptocurrencies, of supporting the United States, which, being the president, soon to be again president, I think that's a good priority. And he's going to be pressing more US-based crypto companies. I personally, this is not talking down on the man, I don't think he knows too much about crypto. He doesn't need to, also, in all honesty. He just needs to be supportive of it and be around people that are making legislations to help it out. And I think he's going to be doing that. So the fact that Hedera is a US-based company greatly increases the odds versus other similar companies that it's going to be used. And then there's a little bit of hope on that one that it'll turn into a CBC or digital dollar, though he's been a little mixed on what he says about making full digital currencies, but we'll see what actually transpires from this. But huge news, just alone with that being a rumor. We'll see what actually happens from it down the road. The fact that it hasn't been argued or refuted yet is also a big deal, because if something is way off base, usually somebody, in this case a competitor, would at least come out and say, no, this is not true. It's looking pretty likely. So I did DCA, by the way, as soon as I heard this news. I've been buying HBAR anywhere between, I first got in around 6 cents a while ago, bought as high as around 12. I knew 12 was my cap off for a while. And I bought again as it went back down, and I'll buy again on the way back up. I really do believe this coin's going to be a huge project. Both short term, should have a pretty good bull run, and specifically long term. I'll tell about my strategy of that down the road of where I'm looking at with HBAR. So, next big news. And back to the Don mentioned about the idea of trying to push 0% capital gains tax on crypto that are US based. That is massive. And I saw a couple of people on X talking about, look, all the crypto that's up or positive or in the green the last 2 days have been US based cryptos. There's a reason for this. Again, news is big. Drive emotion. Is this actually going to happen? Are we going to actually see 0% capital gains for US based crypto? I sure as heck hope so, but I'm not betting on it. I bet on he's going to try to make that happen. Typically in legislation, they go for an extreme and settle for something less. That's called compromise, right? So if we're aiming for 0% capital gains, phenomenal if we get that. Odds are, if now's around 40%, it's probably going to be somewhere in between. Realistically, I could see it being 20%. And I'll take 0. I'll also be thrilled with 20% if that ends up being the case. But it's just awesome news for crypto in general. Why do we put this under HBAR? Well, because HBAR is a large US based, and it's going to be used because it is used for a lot of government-based agencies and large corporations. And it did go up with this news. Phenomenal. That's great for all utility-based US currencies. I guess good news for any memes that can prove that they're US based as well. But I don't think most of them are going to be proven that they're US based. That's a whole different story of seeing how that can happen. 2 more pretty large things that just got me more excited about Hedera. One is Coinbase 50 index. So there was a list. A lot of people got confused on this at first. They were calling Coinbase top 50. And you saw things like Quant was on this top 50. Like, how can Quant be a top 50 coin? It's only, I think at that time, was 103 was the ranking, because they didn't say it's the top 50. It's Coinbase 50 index. What it is essentially a bundle where you can put into these 50 crypto. Think of it is very similar to an ETF in this case, except it is a classification difference and it's ran by Coinbase. There's been other attempts like this before that hasn't really turned into too much. But the fact this is Coinbase does make a difference. Come on, it's the second largest exchange. People are going to be using it. There'll probably actually be stats I'd expect by next week or a week after it's official. I haven't checked to see if it's running yet, of how well is it being used. So a small part of it is Hedera, but it's in there. 50% of this 50 index. So if you buy some, put into it, 50% is going to Bitcoin. 28.8% is going to Ethereum. 6.4% is Solana. 1.4% is Doge. The other 10.4% is everything else. So it would be a small percent that goes into Hedera, but any that's on that list, this is good news for long-term projections, because people can be investing into these coins just by putting into the masses of the top 50 index inevitably, essentially. So it is more money that's going to be coming in through Hedera for people who don't even know what Hedera is, or any of the other, I was going to say 49. They would know a couple of them. What I'm not sure of, I haven't looked into this and didn't have this a thought until now, is how frequently can they change those numbers? My Meaning, is it always going to be 50% Bitcoin? Is Hedera always going to be in there? Is Quant always going to be in there? Is Ethereum always going to be that 28.8%? This is a quick thought. I don't actually know the answer. My guess is that they're going to be able to change that, but they would have to make an announcement ahead of time stating that the percentages are going to change or coins are going to come in or come out. So this is something worth keeping an eye on. But this Coinbase 50 index, another big deal for any crypto that was listed on there, because it's more masses coming in, getting exposure to it, or at least putting money into the market for liquidation. The last big one, and this is the one that made the largest price action difference, really makes no utility difference at the moment, but EFTs, baby, coming with HBAR. Hedera Canary Company filed for an EFT for Hedera, and this is massive. Just the fact that it was filed. Odds are it is going to get passed and pushed through. The question is when. But just anytime there is news about a filing for EFT, the crypto always goes up. And then for Bitcoin and Ethereum, when it first got released, it took a little longer than most people thought. Ethereum notably longer than with Bitcoin. But having ETF, again, it opens up the crypto to the masses more, where more people are going to talk about, because it's an option now for things like putting into your Roth or other investment accounts. So this was great news. This is going to be spread very heavily, I'm sure, as more updates come about when is it being launched, when is it regulated. I'm fully expecting it's going to get passed, but the fact that it's filing now, awesome news. Love to see an HBAR ETF. I'm expecting a side effect of this to be that there's going to be less of a crash coming in the bear market. We're going to see this heavily with Bitcoin, meaning every bear cycle, Bitcoin drops by roughly, I think it was 72% on average from its all-time high down to the bear low. I don't think that's going to happen this time. Probably never again. It's still going to drop because people are going to sell, and they're going to sell in the mass quantities, at least for the people who bought early, which will drive the price down, and the people are going to panic and they're going to sell. It's going to drive it down a little bit more, but I don't think it's going to be by that 72%. Where it was last time all-time high was around 63 grand and it dropped down to 15. I don't think we're going to get that big of a drop. Probably somewhere between 20 and 40% drop. I have no idea. We'll find out how that goes. That's something new this cycle. But putting that in line with Hedera, when an ETF comes out, something similar is going to happen on a much smaller scale, where I doubt is going to crash as hard during the bear market. But it also depends on when the ETF actually gets launched and starts accumulating. So, awesome stuff if you are a H-barbarian, so to speak, if you're into Hedera and like it. Or if you're new or not into Hedera, before people start asking, is it too late? No, it's not too late. Last time I looked, it was just under 7 cents. I'm telling you, I bought in and going to continue to buy up until about 11 or 12 cents because I'm confident it's going to get a lot more gains down the road just here in the bear cycle. But I'm also personally looking at holding on to some afterwards, depending on how high it gets. I guess I'll throw out real quick my price prediction for Hedera, which could change, but it's what I'm sticking to for now for my exit plan, I guess we'll call it. Is sorry for other H-barbarians. I do more bearish estimates, but I'm confident H-bar is going to go over its all-time high. I'm confident we're going to see 50 cents. I'm pretty damn confident that we're going to see it hit 70 cents. From there, I'm losing confidence of how high it's going to go, and specifically if it's going to go there to where it actually levels off and you can buy and sell, or if it's going to candle wick to where it's there for a couple of minutes to a couple hours at most, to where it doesn't actually matter. Others say, oh, it hit it. But I'm expecting to be out of most of my position on Hedera by the time it hits about that 70 cent marker. I'll keep some in there for sure. And if I keep buying more, depending on how long it takes for things to really start rolling, I might have a lot extra to go into either the moon bag, so to speak, or the bear market. We'll end up seeing. But I guess officially I'll call it, I think we're going to have all-time high probably around 70 cents to $1 actual usable amount, buy or sell usable. I mean, probably closer to that 60 to 70 cent mark. There's going to be it's going to be a little tougher to break past that 50-cent marker. Probably around that 45 to 50 cents, we're going to see a lot of just restraint, hard to get through, because anytime we hit a whole number like a 0 or a 5, it gets harder to get through because that's where people are expecting it to get bumped. I'm also expecting it to be a little hard to get through that around 15 to 18 cent range once we get there, because I know there was a lot of large influencers last cycle that bought around 14 cents. A couple of them I'm not going to name drop, but if you listen to videos routinely, you know some of these people that bought in heavily around 14 cents. And I know that they haven't all sold. I know a few of them very confidently have not sold, but they're going to. Not right away, but I would expect a lot of people that got in late into HBAR last cycle are going to sell around that 14 to 20 cent mark. So expect there to be a line of resistance there, unless there's some big news that hits around that time that jumps it up as well. So at that point, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'll do more videos down the road about what HBAR really is, because I mean, there's a lot of videos on YouTube about it, but I guess I don't want to assume that you guys have heard of it. So I'll get into, actually comment below if you're interested in more of the technicalities or just want to know what I'm excited about. Like, do you guys care about what the governing council is for HBAR? Because if not, you should. Not financial advice, but education advice. It matters that there's companies that are governing and voting on what Hedera does. You know, these small names like Google, IBM, Dell, Aberdeen, BitGo, LG. Their fingers are in Hedera. It matters. But if you guys want to know more about that stuff, please comment below. Let me know. I'll gladly rant about all the technicalities that I find interesting and most other people don't. But it is what it is. If there's anything else you guys want me to tell you, let me know. Follow me on Twitter. I update that a lot more than I do here. Anything else I got to say? Think it's just goodbye and see you guys next time. Peace.